Hi, it's Mike Levin on Friday, June 10th at about 5:20 p.m. 2016, and this will be my third talking head coding video for today. Hopefully I'm starting a trend, personally getting back into these types of videos, which I really enjoy doing, and I am forging new ground for myself right now. After I installed Jupyter Notebook, previously iPython, I made sure that I could import my own packages and keep them in a Git repo and push them up to GitHub in that same directory iPython was launched from. So I got most of what I need, but what's left is all this virtual environment stuff. And to really show you what I'm dealing with, let me make sure I CD into that new location that, let's see, ls cd save serp ls. This is the location where I'm running IPython, which is also Jupyter Notebook. I'll probably use those two things interchangeably. And I also turned it into a GitHub repo. And I did a few experimental outputs like this Python log. Yeah, so let's look at that. These are all my different Pythons on my system. And every file that has the word Python in it, I did a little find, and we scrolled past 3.4. Here's 2.6, 2.7, and here's 3.5. So I've got a bunch of Pythons on my Macintosh, and that creates a lot of ambiguity. And whenever you have that situation, that screams virtualenv. But I'm using Anaconda, and that has its own repo system that deals with all the tricky issues that come up when you're using these Unix or Linux oriented libraries on a Mac or a Windows machine. So we use their virtual env system that's part of conda instead of the popular one. And we have to learn how it works and be able to launch IPython so that it's using that virtualenv, which turned out to be quite a trick. So this was the page that really hit it home for me. And this is the command that is the solution. Although I failed to see it mentioned, you actually have to include Jupyter in the project you're creating, or else you won't get the correct virtual environment. So let me demonstrate. First, if I were to just launch Jupyter Python, it's Jupyter Notebook, like this. You get your tabs. I load my project that I've been using. And you can see as I run through this, it works, and this shows us our path to our Python executable. This is the global Python that was installed for Anaconda. And this gspread library is not accessible. That's not something that's in the Anaconda or the conda repo. I had installed this script called miniconda to get it. I actually downloaded this file here, and then from a OS X terminal typed bash and this name, and that installed the miniconda repo system. So that's what I'm using right now to fetch down things that I believe will be important in a second, but we have to change this path, and here's how we do it. I'm keeping in my journal the actual path commands I'm using. Starting with this one. Control key is what I want. Okay. Copy. And that is going to be, this is like virtualenv, just space name, but you have to give it a -n parameter, the virtual environment name, the Python version you want in there, and you're essentially initializing it with a package, which has to include Jupyter. It could be multiple packages. So I am going to Control-C out of this. Do you wish to shut it down? Yes, that'll pop a message up over here from losing that connection. So we'll close these two older iPython tabs. And then we're going to use that command. Okay, prefix already exists. I believe I have used that virtual environment name before and did not get rid of it. So in fact, let me get rid of it. Let me delete it for the sake of asserting control, really is what it is. So this is removing the environment. Yes, a lot of stuff in there. Now I should be able to create the environment again with this command. Okay, that's the one that failed a moment ago because there already was a virtual environment called venv. So this is going to create it again. Proceed, yes. Okay, so now a virtual environment exists named venv with Jupyter inside of it. And from that point, we can now do source activate the name of the environment. Source activate venv, and watch the prompt. The prompt gets the name of the environment. venv comes before everything else. And that's how you know you're in the virtual environment. Now, if I launch JUPYTER notebook, we'll get our 2 tabs back again in our browser. No, the 1 tab. We launch the 2nd tab of our test file. And if you'll remember, previously, this had said a global environment that all users shared in common. Now, when I execute that, it's this path that has the name of my virtual environment in it. That's how we know it's working. Now we're going to do one more before and after. You can see that that is still creating that same import error. But now, remember the command we used to activate the environment? Source activate environment name. We're going to do that over here. Make sure I'm in that directory. Yep. Source activate venv. Okay? Now when we use pip, there is no ambiguity about which pip it is. It's going to be the pip in this virtual environment that goes with Python executable being used. This is very important. Otherwise, after you do something like pip install gspread, could be installing it for any one of the Pythons on your system. Now we know we got it in this contained virtual environment. And we can confirm it by just re-executing this one. Bam, gspread imports. And that is one of those success-assured moments. I checked off all my checklists for today. The ability to maintain another package in there. That's the saveserp.py, which I'm importing here as a Python module and using its contents successfully. Check. And then as you can see, if I ls.la, I initialize this as a Git repository. There you can see the .git directory. And then when I do edits and stuff, git status, see what's going on. Well, those are 2 things that I added that I really don't need anymore, so I can remove them. Just stuff I did during an investigation. And git status, there's nothing that's changed. But if I were to vim, what was that file name? ls, oh, it's the one I'm importing is saveserp. Vim saveserp. I'll just put a couple of exclamation points after hello world. Save, quit, git status, it knows it changed. Git commit. First edit. And before I push, I'll give you a little before and after here. I'll actually go to my, let's see, go to my Git repository, my personal Git repo. I had pushed this up. It's now this save serp here. So this is really an IPython project where I'm copying and pasting my good IPython code into this file. You can see the comment is added initial files. Git push. Go back here, do a refresh. First edit. And I could drill down on that and you can see the file. So check. I can blend personal packages in with my IPython work and import them and use them in my IPython sessions. I can make that file that I'm importing part of a Git repo and push it to GitHub. And then the third thing, I had to be able to use just generic packages out of PyPI. That's PyPI, which is the equivalent of, I guess, what would be gems under Ruby or NPM under Node.js or apt-get under Debian. It's just the repo system. The repo system for Python that has become the dominant one. And so Anaconda introduces its own repo system called conda, but it doesn't have everything in there. So we need to actually be able to do pip installs while we're using this interesting IPython environment to get our libraries that are not yet in conda, but are in PyPI, using the pip program without any ambiguity of any of these many zillions of Python installations that tend to get installed on Macs. So, success assured. I'm going to be able to use Jupyter Notebook, aka IPython, as sort of a development environment, a place to test. Essentially, I'll probably be turning this into my main point of entry for the program, and everything will be written as modules except for the imports of those modules and the main function. Anyway, that's my plan. Well, thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you again soon, and don't forget to subscribe.